Welcome to Salute to the Years, where my family and I discuss everything Disney, from parks, food, and rides to travel tips, movies, and more. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Salute to the Years. This is episode 53, and I'm your host, Jeremy Simon.
And I'm Erica.
And it's been a busy week, I'd say about a week with Disney stuff. And we've kind of taken a little bit of time to let things soak in with D23.
It was a lot.
It was a lot, but not a lot.
I mean, there was a lot happening, and there were a lot of stuff that we were watching from vloggers who were there, and just trying to take in all of the the different pieces of it.
I think there was a lot of stuff going on at the actual expo.
Mm-hmm.
We did not get as much news with the parks, especially Disney World, as what we all thought was coming.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, we tried to pack in a lot on Sunday when the parks announcements were coming out. I mean, we got kind of a preview. What was that, Friday? There was a preview of a couple of the things that are happening, and then Josh tomorrow got up and gave the whole spiel, which of course I laughed because he was like, we're gonna go through this fast. I'm gonna make it quick, and then he just kept like bringing people out and like these long drawn out processes of describing things, and I was like, all right.
Right.
But we were trying to pack in a lot that day.
We were.
Sunday was an incredibly busy day for us just as a family. So we were trying to watch, trying to prep for having people over, trying to prep for the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
Like, it was a busy day.
We had a bunch of stuff going on. Luckily for us, the big thing that they kind of really focused on with both Disneyland and Disney World was Tiana's Bayou Adventure and the remodel of Splash.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the new artwork.
I do.
I'm hopeful
right
now. I'm more hopeful now about it than I was.
Right. And if you're listening to this and you're on social media and you've seen some of the stuff going on with it recently, not all the stuff that's been going on for months, but the stuff that's going on with it recently, and there's a lot of people complaining that the original concept art and the model that came out don't match. And they don't match, but it's concept art.
Right. I mean, and if we go back to most of the concept art pieces for most of the things that are within the parks, they don't exactly. I mean,
no.
there's resemblance and there's things, there's attributes that come out. But one of the things I like about D23 is this aspect of not only do we get news and information, you get to see new things that are happening and brands that are involved and merchandise and all of these things. Like you get to, there's a lot with it, right? I mean, you get to see these amazing interviews and hear stories and all these things, and D23 is great at that. But the best thing I think that they are good is drawing us into the imagination process of this, right? And that's part of what's happened with this, reconfiguration of this ride. Is just being a part of the process, being a part of the imagination behind it, and the care that they're putting into trying to update this.
Right. And there's been a lot of different bloggers and influencers that are like, see, the budget's been slashed, you're not going to get what you want, it's going to be some screens, it's going to be some animatronics. And I'm like, just give it a chance.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even open. Like, they haven't really even started doing anything other than painting some dirt.
Yeah.
Like...
painting some concrete,
give it a chance for it to actually open up before you let people really influence.
How many times have we seen where we're like, they start working on something, Imagineers start working on something, or they, you see the dirt start getting shoved around and you start seeing stuff and you're like, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know how this is going to be. And then it opens and you're like, oh my gosh, that was incredible. That was amazing. Right. How, okay, I'm sorry. Guardians is a bunch of screens and a ride track, and it's freaking amazing. Yeah. So, but I trust the Imagineers.
I do.
I trust the people that have brought so much incredible magic to all of the parks and all of the movie, all of the different elements of Disney, parks experiences, and what is it?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Whatever Josh's title is now of parks, experiences, and something, and products.
Yeah, products. There
Parks,
you go.
experiences, and products. Across the board, we have all of this incredible stuff. I trust them. I trust that the people who are working on this care about this project. I trust that the people who are working on this want this to be successful. This is not just something that they're just like, oh, let's just slap some paint on there and just call it good. Like, I do not believe for one moment that anybody that is involved in this wants that or believes that. And so why, as people who love Disney and as people who have been, involved in the magic, why would anybody sit here and be like, oh, they're just screwing it up? Seriously?
Right. Without
giving it an opportunity to open.
Right. That's going off some drawings and some ideas of what other people think it should look like. One of the things that people were like, oh, see, it's going to be completely different. You don't got this great big huge tree that was in the concept art sitting on top of the mountain. They may not be able to. Like, how tall was this tree? And then is it going to be too tall?
Well, and you also have to think about, one of the things that Disney does really well, as far as that not every amusement park does, is they look at airspace, right? And they are looking at line of sight and airspace. And if you're on a ride, and you're at another high point, what are you seeing?
Right.
What's visible to you, right? It's the entire reason why the backside of the Hollywood Tower Hotel is painted the exact same color as the Morocco pavilion in Epcot, because you can see them. Right, from multiple points, and so it just blends right in. Disney is all about how's that going to affect not just that space, not just that ride, not just that housing of of those elements, but all of the other aspects of everywhere else that you could see this from, and the other points that you are in the park and other rides you're on in the park. That all matters.
It does.
And so I just keep going back to, like, just give them a chance. You can be concerned about, like, hey, I really don't think this is going to work.
Right.
Like, I don't love some of the stuff as far as the layout around Tron. I like Tron itself, like, in that, but like the arcade and the side, like, there's parts about that where I'm like, ew, I don't like it.
Right.
But you don't hear me sitting, like, being like ranting about it.
No.
Because I don't think that it fits the other aspects of what's there. Okay, I also trust that the people who are designing this have a heck of a lot more experience in that department than I ever will.
Right. And there's a chance down the road they might fix that. I got a feeling down the road they're going to fix that. We thought there might be an announcement at this D23 about some of that stuff. Right. But it didn't happen.
Okay, so one of the things that happened at D23 that we really weren't expecting it to be this lopsided, but Disneyland got a ton more announcements.
Yeah. And I got a theory on this. I was thinking about this today. And I think what we got going on is at World, okay, so we got Epcot that needs to finish up.
Right.
Tron that needs to finish.
Well, and let's just within Epcot, you're not just talking about, like, the change in the land, like the structure of, like, the overall layout of Epcot. You're talking about specifics within those. So you've got the Moana, feature. You've got another ride, correct? No more rides. But you got multiple different pavilions. You got the Play Pavilion. You got the Celebration Pavilion. You got there's a lot at Epcot that they're still working on, and they need to get done. Yes,
they're still trying to finish up Tron, and you also got Tiana coming.
Yeah.
So you got a bunch of things going on there in the next couple of years that are going to open up between now and 2024.
Right.
Okay? There's no reason for them right now to push a bunch of big stuff, because Universal is opening up Epic Universe in 2025.
Right.
So the next D23 is in 24. I got a feeling then is when we're going to hear all the really big
The
stuff.
bigger announcements.
The big stuff for Disney World.
And you still have the 50th going on right now through April, which then leads right into Disney's 100th anniversary of not the parks, but just Disney company's 100th anniversary for 2023. And so there's still things happening within all of those elements that aren't necessarily park related. But yeah, there are things that have happened that were announced, 2 years ago, 4 years ago for Walt Disney World that have not come to fruition because of COVID.
Right. So let's jump back to Disneyland. One of the things that they're getting there that they're not getting at Disney World, that they could honestly do them both, is Mando and Grogu are going to have meet and greets and be walking around Galaxy's Edge.
Right.
And they went down to the detail on Mando's costume.
Oh man, it looks so cool.
And then a little animatronic Grogu that pops up out of the bag and is kind of looking around and making noises and talking. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Why they couldn't do that in both parks, I don't get, because it's the exact same Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, and it would be the exact same feature. I mean, you would need two different, you have Rey walking around at both, you have Chewie walking around at both.
They're not walking around a whole lot at Disney World right now. For the most part, they're still behind.
Well, okay, I should say walking around, but they are visible. They are out.
Right.
They are interacting with.
Right.
With
they are.
Galaxy's Edge.
There's no reason why you can't have them at both.
Right. So if you can have all of those elements at both,
right,
and you can have some of the other meet and greets that you have at both, why do you not have, why would you only bring this one to Disneyland? I understand. I've always been upset about the fact that Disneyland has more meet and greets in general.
They got a ton.
Way more opportunities to meet characters than you ever have at Disney World. Now, the other half of me knows Disney World as a whole, when you're talking about all 4 parks, holds thousands and thousands of more people than Land does on any given day. So, there's a part of me that understands that too, as far as capacity and what the difference is there and space and all of that. But man, this is one that you really could have sold in both places.
Right.
Would have been great.
I think they're investing so much in Disneyland to try and draw more tourists out there because it's primarily driven by locals.
Right.
Or people who go multiple times a year.
Now, Disneyland did bait and hook you, though, for a couple years from now, a few years from now, with an announcement that you are super excited about. San Fran Tokyo is coming to Disneyland.
They're going to have Baymax. I hope they better not miss the opportunity to have a Baymax ride.
I'm flying.
Flying on the back of Baymax would be fantastic, and it would be so easy to turn into a ride.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's a coaster or it's a flight of passage type thing, and you're flying around San Fran Tokyo. I can never say it. And you get all the smells around there. It'd be fantastic.
Because you could have the smells from the cafe, and you could incorporate the cafe and everything. And there's a lot there to work with. Super excited about that. Now, that is one place though that I don't feel like you can adequately provide a space like that at Disney World.
No.
For the Big Hero 6 crowd, for San Fran Tokyo. I feel like that has to be on the West Coast.
Right, it does. And they already have the little Pacific Wharf area in Disney's California Adventure anyway.
Right, which is where this is going. And so that's going to be really, really cool. I think that would probably be one of your dream jobs, maybe, is to hang out with Baymax all day.
Absolutely.
There are some other things that are coming to Disneyland that look really fantastic. Kind of excited about the fact that they are getting some new nighttime spectaculars. I feel like they've been lacking in that.
Somewhat. I think the one in actual Disneyland, their nighttime fireworks, I feel like there's been a lot of people who are that's not so good. Disney World is actually beating Disneyland in that one.
Right.
World of Color, everybody has loved, and it's getting a
Okay.
big update.
Updates are good.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes, because you know how the Disney social media especially loves change. It's not a lot.
I swear it's like everybody just forgets that there are real people behind,
Right.
on the other side of that screen.
It's going to be good. It will be fine. They're getting a new parade, or a parade's coming back. I should say a parade's coming back to Disneyland, new daytime parade. But then their other big news was the expansion of Adventures Campus.
Yeah, that actually, I'm super excited about the expansion as far as like the campus itself and like that part being, and getting more care. Like, I am highly, highly, highly disappointed in how they are choosing to portray a new character to see and greet in Adventures Campus.
Yeah, like Hulk came walking out, and you wouldn't know it's Hulk other than he has green hands, and you can see green through a mask because he's in the time travel costume.
Yeah.
And he walks super stiff. Like, I understand you're trying to make this giant meet and greet, but that thing was awful.
Yeah.
Like, it was really, really bad.
I don't feel like the Hulk towards the end of MCU, like, or where we're at.
Smart Hulk.
Like, Smart Hulk, he's big.
Right.
But he's not ungodly big. And so I feel like there had to have been another way to do this.
It's something. Like, I understand they're using the time travel costume to try and... because they're probably having a hard time with the skin to make it look. But this didn't work either. Like, the knees don't hardly bend, and it
felt really off. It felt really fake. Like, that was one, like, so here's what was hard about it too. So they had just announced Mando, right? So here's Josh is like bringing out Mando and Grogu, and like everybody is just like losing their minds over the fact that he's coming out, right?
Right.
And so then he brings up Keith, and they're talking about Marvel, and he's talking about, all of these things coming for Avengers Campus, and they're talking, like, and this is great. And everybody's like, oh, what's it going to be? It's going to be Hulk, and you're expecting Hulk.
Right.
Right. We're all expecting to see this, like, green, like, awesomeness.
Right.
Right. And I think even to some degree expecting the green foam, to some degree. Like, I think I was expecting him to be almost a little more cartoony. To balance out that factor rather than trying to make him more realistic. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I was expecting something, but the expectation in my head and what walked out were two completely different things. No, and I think there were a lot of people who were like, what?
Yeah, that's one thing where I've seen pretty much everybody has been like, that's not good.
Yeah, and again, I know that they tried they're trying to do their best on that, but like, y'all, you missed the mark. Yeah. Like, somebody needed to
Yep.
You know how like you always do like test, trial it out, like, where people like, view it first and they're like, what do you think? Like, I feel like they didn't ask the right people.
They definitely missed that one. There's one thing that's going to be going on in all the Disney parks and cruise line and everything over the next year. And that's celebrating the 100 Years of Wonder. Yeah. Which is celebrating the 100th anniversary of the actual Disney company.
Which I am super, super excited about because some of it is coming to Kansas City.
It is. There's a tour with all kinds of archives and artwork and...
just memorabilia and stories.
It's going to like 12 cities or something like this worldwide, and Kansas City's one of them.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait to find out where it's going to be. Like, we kind of have a couple of places in mind of where it's probably going to land. It's either going to be like at Bartle or at Union Station, and it's probably going to be a decent ticket to get in because most, exhibits like that are.
Right. Well, we're going.
We're going. Fear not, we will bring it all to you the best we can when it does arrive here. But speaking of the fact that is happening across the board, including Disney Cruise Lines. Yes. Disney Cruise Lines had a major announcement.
They did.
And I basically sent the images of it to my dad and my sister and was like, we're doing it! Like, let's go! So not only... are they going to have a completely new port of call, and they are taking the Wonder ship, which is one of the earlier ships.
It is.
taking it to Australia.
Right.
And so it's going to have a port of call in Australia, and it's going to go to Fiji and somewhere else. New Zealand. I mean, it's going to have, like, it's going to be spectacular.
Right.
Like, that is going to be an incredible cruise. But the biggest news of all was that there is another ship coming. So they just launched Wish.
Right. And with Wish, it's going to have 2 sister ships. There's 3 in this line of ships.
Right. So this is 2.
This is 2. And it has something in it that none of the other ships have.
Yep.
It has 3 characters that are there in the grand, what do you call it? The grand lobby? Grand foyer? Grand lobby?
Atrium.
Anyway, you walk in and it's Jasmine and Aladdin.
And Abu.
No.
No.
He's on the carpet.
Oh, he's on the carpet.
So there's 3.
The carpet is a character. I always forget the carpet's a character.
But this ship is called the Treasure.
Yeah. So this one's actually based all on adventure. And so I think a lot of the characters and the shows and the way that it is designed is all about, like, taking an adventure. Right. And so I think you're going to see a lot in as far as, like, Aladdin. Right. You're going to see a lot in that, a lot of influence from that. You're going to see a lot of the pirate influence, I think. There was another character that they showed, and now I can't remember what it was on the trailer for it, that I was like, ooh, that's going to be so good as far as the adventure part, and I can't think of it. But I'll think of it. I'll put it in the show notes. But looks super exciting.
Right.
On that note of Disney Cruise Lines, they do have a really incredible deal happening right now. So find your local travel agent. You guys know who our favorite is. We'll tag her in the show notes. But that's definitely on our short list right now. And Lori knows it. So let's go ahead and dive in. We've said there are things, we've talked a little bit about what's coming to Disney World, but there is more to talk about.
There is. Okay, so when we get to Disney World, let's go ahead and talk about probably the big one that we know for sure is coming.
Yeah.
Or coming back, we should say. And that's Happily Ever After.
I almost cried happy tears just hearing that it's coming back. But at the same time, enchantment has grown on me. So
I got a feeling Happily Ever After isn't going to be the same.
No.
Because he announced that the return of Happily Ever After to their new nighttime spectacular. But a lot of people were cheering after they heard Happily Ever After and didn't really pay attention to the new nighttime spectacular. So I'm wondering if it isn't going to be, they did a cast member preview like a couple months ago, and it was a combination of Wishes and Happily Ever After and Enchantment. I wonder if it's not going to be that, with the big part of it being Happily Ever After.
Well, I think Jordan's coming back. I think Jordan Fisher's coming back.
I do believe that song's coming back.
That song's coming back. I don't think that the song that they're using for Enchantment has had the same impact that the Happily Ever After one did.
Right.
And so I think that, and there are elements of it. There are pieces in that show and there are pieces of that song that do get to me.
Right.
There are pieces of the words that get to me. Like, there's no doubt about it, but you don't get the same kind of, like, I don't know. There's just something about Happily Ever After that we're all addicted to. And maybe it's because it was still out when COVID happened. And there was an aspect of, like, there were thousands of us who watched it together when Disney premiered it on YouTube. And, like,
it could be.
Like, I don't know. There may be a nostalgia there that's happening because of COVID, where we may not have had that without COVID. I don't know. But I think it is going to be, I think it's going to be really, really cool.
I do too.
And Jordan being a dad now, or about to be a dad.
Right.
I think they had their baby.
No, I don't think they have yet.
They haven't yet. I think that's going to be super, super special if he does come back.
Yeah, I think he will. If not, I think they'll get some other. I think they're going to go for if it's not him, it'll be a big name.
Yeah.
That will do it. It'll be a name that we know.
We both had characters that are going to be coming back to the parks also
Yeah.
that we are super excited about.
Okay.
Or a character that's coming to Walt Disney World. So for me, there was the announcement of Figment is coming back
Oh, yeah.
to be able to meet. I love Figment. You've never understood my love for Figment. I really don't like the ride, the current ride. Like,
Right.
I never really have liked it. I love Figment.
Right.
I loved, who's the character? The
Dreammaker,
Dream Finder.
There you go.
And I wanted to say Dreammaker, and I was like, that's not right.
Right.
I mean, I can see him with his mustache and, and Figment, and like that, for me, that was the embodiment of that, like, imagine your spirit.
Right.
Right? That was the embodiment of, like, Disney can do anything. And so I'm super excited to see Figment come back. But you got an announcement that you were super excited about for Walt Disney World of I guess character's not the right word, but an animatronic.
Yeah, something being added to Haunted Mansion, which might be one of my favorite, like, classic rides. And Disneyland has always have said theirs is better because they have the Hatbox Ghost.
Right.
Well, Disney World has it now too.
Yeah.
So now Haunted Mansion in Disney World is longer, and it will have the Hatbox Ghost. So excited to see that. Hate that it's taken so long to get it. It was rumored that it was supposed to be part of the 50th.
Oh.
That it was supposed to get added into it before COVID hit. That was one of the things that really got slashed when COVID hit and the budget got slashed for the 50th. But it is coming now. I don't think they said when.
No, he just said that it's coming.
Right. My guess is that one's a pretty easy add.
Right, as long as you've got the animatronic and the spaces there, that's not a terrible, like, addition. But I just wish that they could fix Constance's face in Haunted Mansion ride. She drives me crazy.
Yeah.
The bride, when you're up in the attic space and you're going through, like, it is so off.
I get it.
I can't handle it. Like, it looks so
I kind of felt the same way going through, like, Frozen.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have bad makeup that doesn't match.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah, there were definitely a couple times on the Frozen ride that was the same. One thing that really surprised us, announcement-wise, was the timeline for Tron.
Right. Like, we keep seeing everything, and when we were down there, like, it's getting really close. It looks like they just need to finish putting down some cement and...
Like, it really looked like they were getting
touches
like, they were almost to landscape.
Right.
And once you hit landscape, it's fast.
Right. And, like, other podcasters and vloggers and stuff that I trust were like, we really think it's going to be open this year, like, before the end of this year. And it's not coming until spring of 23. Like, I guess I kind of understand not opening it up during the holiday season.
Yeah.
Because it's already crazy busy once those holiday crowds hit for that month or whatever.
I have a feeling we missed a mark. Like, it could have, like, at one point there was a plan to open it, like, say, October of this year.
Right.
And they missed that mark. And because they missed the mark for September or October for this year, then it's like, I feel like it's kind of like a launch window.
Right.
Where, like, there's only certain weeks when you can really pull this off to make it match all the other things that are already planned, all the other pieces that are already in place. And so similar to a launch window of only having those certain days when you can launch because everything is aligned properly. Yeah. I think there's only certain windows when you can kind of launch something like this and open it. And so they missed the one for fall. Right. And so now that they've missed the one for fall, the next one is spring. So the question is, does that mean late February?
Right. Are you trying to open it before spring break?
Right. Are you trying to open it before spring break, or are you talking May?
Right.
Like, because typically when they say May, they say late spring or summer. Right. But if it's like, if they're thinking late February going into spring break season, right, that could be.
It could be. I don't know what they mean. Like, and I don't know what slowed it down. I've heard rumors of some supply stuff, especially with, like, some of the railings along some of the walkways, because that's kind of custom railings that they're doing, like custom shape. I've heard that stuff. I don't know what's slowing it down, but that thing's taking forever. It is by
It
far
really is.
the longest ride that they've done, which is weird because they've already got it in Shanghai. So I don't know if there's been like massive like issues with the land.
Oh,
Or-
like the structure underneath.
Right. If they had to like
Stability-wise.
really do a bunch of different things to stabilize it, or what, but it was moving at snail's pace for a long time.
Here is one difference between this Tron and the one in Shanghai, right? Does the one in Shanghai also have the? Is it Shanghai, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Does it have the train going underneath it as well?
I don't think it has. I don't think it has the train, but the
So
ride itself is exactly the same.
So again, that would be that foundational
Right.
structure is different because the Walt Disney World
Right.
Railroad runs right underneath Tron, which
Right. The whole like has like a floating sidewalk. Like that stuff was complex, but it shouldn't be so complex
Right.
where it's taken 4.5 years to build or whatever it is.
and granted, COVID put
It
a
really did.
grinding halt on that for so
did.
many months.
It
So I
did.
mean, I don't count that timeline as far as like the COVID,
Yeah.
when stuff was like not happening at all because
Right.
the world was shut down. But
Right.
the thing is that there's been all this speculation about it, right? And there's been lots of speculation about a lot of things, and now there is so much misinformation happening after D23 because you have bloggers who want bait clicks,
Right.
who want they want people to be riled up, they want people to comment, and they want people to interact because
Right.
their information all of us know that their
Yep.
information is wrong.
Right. The more sensational that they can make it seem, whether it's on YouTube or it's on Twitter or whatever, it's more clicks they get, the better. So let's go ahead and jump into basically like the what if. Like Josh brought out some Imagineers from Blue Sky.
So Blue Sky is basically Imagineers like dreaming big, right? Big blue sky, anything is possible. All the world is,
Right.
it just keeps going.
They're the ones who plant the seed of the ideas that grow into the things we like.
Right.
Right.
So they have taken some spaces like the Dino Land area in Animal Kingdom.
Yep.
Like the extension of things in Magic Kingdom of like past
Past Big Thunder.
Big Thunder. Thank
Land
you.
behind Big Thunder that hasn't been used, and
Decades.
they've been working on quietly. They've been clearing that thing out over the last few years.
Right. There's lots of space still around there that they've been looking at, wanting to expand into, talking about. But the biggest space that they really like the two big things they talked about was the possibility of what Dino Land could become at Animal
Right.
Kingdom and what that could roll into in relationship to kind of the fantasy aspect, which you have a little bit of in World of Avatar and Pandora, in the conservation aspect, in the IP aspect.
Right.
And the two big things that they were looking at and that they're like dreaming about is Zootopia and Moana.
Right.
Right? Zootopia they're already doing in
Shanghai? Or is it Tokyo?
I think it's Tokyo.
It might be. It's one of those.
It's in one of the lands in Asia. And so they've already got Zootopia happening out there. So they've
Right.
already got kind of a like,
Yeah.
hey, here's what this could look like.
Yes, they have firm plans of this is what it's going to be.
Because it's being built. I mean,
Right.
it's already under like it's animatronics and it's like construction and like it's happening. Then you've got Moana, this idea of like Moana. Well, you've already got a whole Moana feature and Big Tafiti and all these things happening in Epcot.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Tafiti, but
That is going to be incredible.
yeah,
She's so beautiful.
right.
They dreamed big about this, and
Right.
I can't count the number of ads and you might likes and things and like misinformation that then
Right.
went out from people about Disney just announced that we're getting like it's going
Right.
to be Zootopia at Animal Kingdom, and I'm like,
No, they said this is an idea, and it may very well be that this is what it ends up being. this is why I was kind of saying they didn't announce anything big for sure at this D23. I think that's going to be at the next one. Or at some other convention or expo.
Yeah.
They'll debut that. I really think that Dino Land is remodeled. It's something's going there, and that's going to happen before the stuff over at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of threw out both Moana and Zootopia to kind of get our feelings on both. Like, I'd heard all kinds of stuff about Zootopia going over there. Right. I hadn't heard a peep about Moana going over there.
And I don't really love the idea of Moana going over there because there's already something specific to her in Epcot. That doesn't make any sense to have a continuation of something over in Animal Kingdom with that.
Right.
But Zootopia, because, again, you already got kind of a blueprint ready to go.
Right.
And so that one was interesting. The other one that came up as a possibility of a extension of things and just dreaming, and I can't remember where they said they were talking about placing this, but was more things for Encanto.
This is over in the expansion of Magic Kingdom. So you go behind where Big Thunder Mountain is.
Yeah,
so you kind of like if you're going like through like the U.S. as you're walking through like Frontierland and all that. Think of this as being kind of like you've gone through like the Southwest, U.S. Southwest, and you're going down into Mexico and South America now.
Right.
Right. So you're gonna have they said something for Coco. Over there, like you're gonna have like his village over there, and there'll be a ride or something over there for him. Then you're gonna keep going, and then you're gonna come into the village for Encanto,
which really it was really interesting to me because I had the thought of like, would that ever replace something like how does that fit into where Swiss Family Treehouse is?
Right, because that's what they're doing at Disneyland.
Right. So like, how do you like? You've got some of this stuff that's IP that like our kids are like, we don't know anything about that. Like that doesn't mean anything to us.
Right.
And how do you like, make that a new space without sacrificing what the structure already is.
Right.
Right. What you already have built there. So again, blue sky stuff. None of this is like, this is happening. This was all like, this could happen.
Right. But the one thing through all that really got people excited is still in that expansion in Magic Kingdom. And that's going back to a land dedicated to villains. And this has been rumored for a while, whether it was going to be a fifth gate or what it was going to be. And this actually makes sense. Because if Splash Mountain isn't going to be a mountain anymore, they need another mountain.
Right.
And one of the things they've always talked about in a villain's land is having the mountain where Sharon Bog is like Fantasia and a ride to go along with that. And that would be fantastic.
That is the one that I can see out of all of the things that they dreamed Big Sky. I can probably see that one and like feel that one the most.
Right.
Like I can see the Zootopia thing in Animal Kingdom, like sort of. I'm not crazy about it, but like I can kind of see where they're at with it.
I feel like Zootopia is like the low hanging fruit of like, oh, we're Animal Kingdom. Well, they're animals. We're gonna put them there.
So that's where I'm saying like I'm not crazy about it, but like okay, fine. I see where you're coming from, but the villains aspect. Oh man, I can see it, and as big as all of it is when you have the Halloween party and
the things they could do in there for the Halloween party.
I mean, because you get the villains after hours event stuff like they used to have like in the annual pass holder events and like there is so much available there, and especially after having Descendants and everything and having that mix and crossover of like the villains and the heroes and like all of that. Oh man, so much to play with there, so much to do. This is still like I'm sitting here talking about it and like we're just going through like a list and we haven't really given you guys a whole lot of direction in this as far as like where we're talking, but there was a lot announced. There's a lot of information available online, and the only thing I'm going to say about like wrapping this up is vet your information.
Right.
Right. So if if anything is like, oh, they said this is coming, vet your information.
Right. It's not necessarily coming soon. And one of the things Disney was doing at this was telling you about this big shiny object that's down the road to kind of distract you, so you're not looking at the fact that they didn't announce a whole lot coming to the parks in the next 2 years that we didn't already know.
Right.
There is one big thing that we didn't talk about that's coming to the parks.
What's that?
And that is a new nighttime show at Epcot.
Oh, yeah.
It's Harmonious, which I like. I think it's beautiful.
It is.
Is going away for the 100th. Like, they have started producing a new show for it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's still going to include the Stargate and the tacos in the lagoon, or if they're going to get rid of those. But they spent a lot of money on those. I can't necessarily see them ditching those, but there is a new nighttime show coming there.
I am hopeful about that because there are elements to that are too harmonious, and the structure of all of that is very cool. And so I'm hopeful for that. And I'm excited to see what happens with that. I mean, I just think it's really like Kansas City has such a cool connection to Disney and to Walt, and we always have. And so there's just this thing, of the rich history that Kansas City has, everything from different businesses, the garment district, and I was just reading, there used to be at one point 1 in 7 women was wearing something that was made in Kansas City. 1 in 7 American women, because the garment district was so big in the 50s. That's just incredible to me. But there are all these things that Kansas City is known for, but to get to have and celebrate that tie of the 100 years is just super special to us as people who love this town. And so we're super excited about a lot of these things. The things that we're frustrated about, but we're frustrated because we love Disney and we love the people of Disney.
It's not going to keep us from going to the parks.
Right.
If any of these things or things that they've announced have made you so angry that it's consuming you, or you're actually threatening people on social media, which I'm seeing,
I'm glad I haven't seen that yet.
And it makes you this angry, then the parks aren't bringing you joy, and it's time to find something else.
Yeah. We're going to try to add some show notes that have, kind of a list and some links to, quality information from D23.
Yeah.
And not just the misinformation. We hope that this was helpful and insightful to you as far as what Disney did announce at D23 for the parks, and what's coming, and what we're excited about, and what we think you should be excited about.
Right.
And on that note, make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter. We got a bunch of new Twitter followers. That's really fun.
Yeah.
And we will catch you at Salute to the Ears. Why don't you go out and find your joy?
And have a magical week.